Folks, today I want to share an important information with you. This is regarding or connecting my first spiritual experience in which there was some anti-clockwise direction when I was in total deep sleep. And then I suddenly saw the golden light entering through my seventh chakra and all. So I want to connect what happened there with a famous statement in Hindu scriptures that one Brahma's day is equivalent to many millions of human days. I will not use the word Brahma, but I will use the correct word later in this video. But for now, I would like to use the word Brahma because I want to get your attention to what I'm talking about, because most of the Hindus will understand only this Brahma's day versus the human day. I'm not sure whether in other religions similar statements have been given or not. I'm not familiar with them. If there is any, please let me know through your comment. I will respond to it. Even otherwise, if you have any comments, of course, you can always comment and I will respond to all your comments whenever I get time. Now, before I present this, I have an issue with English video viewers. The previous video only about there are 10 views. That means typically only about 5-6 people have watched this in the average, and I'm not sure how many of you watched from the beginning to the end of the previous video. That means very few people are watching that video. In my viewpoint, that video in which I was presenting a religious neutral view of the energy, more scientific view of the energy around in the human world. What scientists observe as the forms of energy, not the energy itself. The forms of energy depend on the observer's instrument, and so on. Similar thing happens in the world of lights, the kingdom of God, as people call in Christian tradition, and also in one underlying that the ever-present eternal unknown's world. But there is not much interest, it looks like, in people. Whereas in the previous videos, at least I used to get about 30-40 views. That means at least about 20 people, 25 people approximately have watched that video correctly, or from the beginning to the end, or most of it. So that makes me to think what kind of audience I have, for my English videos. I've been a professor for 10 years. I know when I teach, I'm not saying that I'm teaching you here. I'm presenting you. So when I present things in the class, when I was teaching, there are two kinds of responses. One, I could see people for whom what I'm presenting is above their heads. They couldn't understand anything, or they didn't have any interest at all. Second kind of audience is that they have a lot of interest, they understand that, and they ask questions. Always they ask questions. That's a human tendency, because the human mind is in one state, and when I'm talking something new, I'm presenting something new. So there is most likely to be some kind of questions. But if there is no question, no comment, that means either people are not interested or not, or what I'm presenting is above their head. So that's what I'm worried about. Not worried about, but that's what makes me to hesitate to create English videos. I have a feeling that the English viewers are not yet ready to receive what I'm talking about. But let me see what happens to this video. But one English viewer, she is an Indian, but she's not a Hindu. She has a Christian or Judaism background, I believe, from the way that she talks, questions that she asked. She was very interested. She appreciated that and asked me some questions in my Facebook account. From that I could see that she got what I'm, or she was trying to understand what I'm presenting, but I'm not getting anything else from other people. One of the viewers said, "I love it, but I don't know what it means." With that kind of hesitation in my mind, I'm still presenting this. Let me see what happens to this video. If probably there is not much interest, I will see whether I can produce English titles, subtitles to my Tamil videos, so that I don't have to spend my time creating English videos. Anyway, having said that, let's go to the topic of today's video. Now, before I present that, I want you to observe. I'm sure that many of you are married who got children who have observed that newborn children, they have difficult time synchronizing with the day and night. They wake up in the night and odd time and go to sleep for some time, then again wake up, and in the daytime they sleep. They don't sleep whole daytime. Again they wake up and so on. So in other words, their what I call mind clock, or boy, some of you are used to the word body clock. I would like to use the word mind clock. The reason will become clearer in a few minutes. Their mind clock, the children, newborn children's mind clock, is not yet synchronized with Earth's rotation in its axis. As you all know, the Earth rotates in the anti-clockwise direction, counterclockwise direction around its axis, one rotation per day, more or less, almost. Now, that constitutes results in the day and night. And whereas the children about 4 5 years old children, they get used to it. They in other words, they wake up in the morning and then go to sleep in the night, and without getting any disturbed sleep in the night or daytime. Mostly I'm talking about. What that means to me is I propose this idea that their the mind clock rotates one time as the earth rotates one time. In other words, the mind clock is perfectly synchronized with the earth's rotation, that is the human day. Day and night, one day. I'm talking more or less. There are people who go work in the night time, and even then they complain about the problems of sleeping. That's basically because the mind clock synchronization with the Earth's rotation, one rotation, is out of order or disturbed. Anyway, now, having said this, the idea here I want to emphasize again here is the one rotation I'm proposing in the mind clock is synchronized with the one rotation of the earth, the day and night. Now, I have talked about my first spiritual experience in many videos, and especially the part one of the Golden Light video, and also in 2018, I've talked about recorded all my spiritual experiences there. So if you have interest, please watch them. I'm not going to be discussing the details here. So, what happened during my first spiritual experience was when I was in deep sleep during my so called meditation. That was really not a meditation at all in the normal sense. There was a kind of anti clockwise direction, very similar to the rotation that I was talking about, the rotation of the mind clock. There is an extreme speed, many rotation, extremely fast rotation. So many after so many rotations, countless rotation, then the seventh chakra opened, and then the liquid, the golden liquid entered into my sushma body or subtle body, which cleaned up and so on and so forth. And there was a mind stuck to the seventh chakra, then that also vanished. Then I completely watched, observed, had the vision of all this golden light. And subsequent spiritual experiences, always what will used to happen is that I will be doing some kind of work, normal work, and suddenly my mind will be totally arrested. In other words, this mind, the human mind, not supposed let to function in its normal way. Then immediately there will be darkness, and there will be various spiritual appearances will appear in front of me. Now, one such spiritual experience was that, and I'm there. There was no physical consciousness, and my normal mind was not operating. There is only feeling of I, nothing else. At that time, in my mind, there is a thought which says something like, not something exactly like this. It says, "I'm Walk. I'm your daughter." In other words, it says, "My name is Walk. Um, I'm your daughter, obviously." And I many times I mentioned that walk is same as the word WRD as mentioned in the Bible, because both me refer to the speech or the word aspect of creation. And also I mentioned that it is this energy which creates the second universe, the world of three lights, and so on. Now, in another spiritual experience, at the same time, again there was this darkness, and then suddenly this walk appears in my mind, not in any form. There was no form to it. There was only thought, and it says that I'm a being, and don't wake up that darkness, and that will eat me up, and then I'll become a non-being, and after some time I will sprout again. That's what it said. That was the whole of that experience. I want to present this in a different way now. The time elapsed between that it said it I am a being, and then it said I am a non-being. That is the day as far as the walk is concerned. That's the time that it's awake, it's alive. And the time between its disappearance, because the darkness ate me up, ate her up, destroyed her, and there was total darkness everywhere. And then afterwards, after some time, she says she sprouts again. In other words, again she is being born. It is the time between her destruction by the sorry, between the time between the darkness destroying her, and again she is being born. That is the night. as far as but that word is concerned or walk is concerned. As you know, that walk is the creator energy of the second universe that I've been talking about, where that walk creates the three lights poem, creating three eyes to me, and the feeling of eye to me. And then when I look through them, the three divine lights appear to me. Now, this is the day of what they call Brahma, but I would like to call that as the day of the walk, the creator energy. And the night of that energy is when she is out, destroyed by the darkness, and that's the night. So this day and night constitutes one day as far as that walk is concerned. So this day constitutes many several millions and millions of rotation that symbolically took place when the first spiritual experience, there was this anti-clockwise rotation. So that makes me to propose the idea that the many million years of the days and nights of human days and nights constitute one day of that walk, because when walk goes to sleep, in other words, when she gets destroyed, the whole thing gets destroyed. Three lights will not be there anymore. Without those three lights, the human man, the world of humanity will not be there. That is total darkness everywhere. So this, I was watching some scientific video yesterday night about space time, what is time, and so on. That at that time suddenly this idea came to me. Whatever I'm presenting today in this world, it occurred to me. This is what I call waking up, as far as I'm concerned. In other words, I'm getting more and more clear view of my spiritual experience, what happened, what is the meaning of my spiritual experience, and so on. Still, there are many of my spiritual experiences which I have not reported, which don't make any sense to me. I'm probably slowly one after another I will come to know about them, and I will share with you if you are interested, if you show any interest in my videos, in my such presentations. One such, for example, one such um, spiritual experience for which still I have only a partial feeling of what it means, but I don't fully understand. I'm sure in future sometime I'll come to know about it. In that, there is something called a vertical axis, this y-axis. There is a horizontal line. In other words, there is a positive horizontal x-axis and negative side. But as far as the y-axis is concerned, there is only in the positive side. And the two sides of the y-axis, there are two curves, something like hyperbola, that is 1 by x. X being the something in the x-axis, y is the value on the y-axis. Now, these two curves are not identical. That is something which was clearly came to my attention when I had that spiritual experience. There was nothing in that spiritual experience about what y-axis means and what the x-axis means. There is no information like this is x and this is y and all. All that I saw was this vertical line, the horizontal line, and then this two curves, nothing else. There was no voice, nothing tell me what is all about this. Now, I have a feeling that the y-axis is representing the time, and the x-axis represents the space. The reason why I'm saying this is partially because of the experience that I just described, and also partially because whenever I have some kind of thoughts in my mind, in my normal day-to-day life, and if that is disturbing, um, trying to get my attention, then what normally I do is I do something like this, and then I go all the way up, and then I suddenly drop the whole thing down, and then I draw the line from the left to right. Um, um, that there is some connection between this and what was shown to me as the two curves, which I don't fully understand. And also there is a mention about this in Hindu scriptures. That is what is called energy, the Shakti, the observed part of energy is space, and it is at the bottom of the chakra, the bottom chakra, and then the Shiva, the observer, is in the top in the seventh chakra. So what the human world is created by bringing this energy down from there to the bottom, so the lower chakra, and that's what they say in Hindu scriptures. So there is some connection between all these things. I'm sure that in future videos I will be presenting to you whenever I get a clear understanding of what it is. So, folks, that's what I want to talk to you. But before I present such religion neutral videos, I would like to find out whether you really receiving what I'm talking about. If you are not receiving, as I said, there is not much use in presenting this video. So I will wait till there are more people interested in my videos in the future, and if that happens, I will start creating more videos in the future. So I need to know you. Without knowing your background, I may not be able to communicate to you correctly. So let me know, show me your background by some asking some questions. If you just say I love it, I appreciate it very much, such statements. But if you just say I love it, I don't know really what it means. Whereas the other viewer asked me a very some interesting questions, and that makes me to feel that what do I need to present to you, folks. That's what I want to talk to you today. If you have any questions, let me know. I will respond. Talk to you soon, folks.